Hello, my beautiful friends. Thank you so much for joining me today. Welcome back to Behind the Magic, a podcast from Aradia's Closet where we dive deeper into the components of magic. I'm Tanya, your host. I have all kinds of things planned for you: book reviews, how-tos, and interviews with some really amazing people. So if you want to gain a little more perspective on magic, tune in each week for more. Today I have two guests. I'm here again with my friend Stephen. I'll refresh you on him. He's been practicing for over 50 years, self-initiated at 14, and formally initiated in 1993. And we've been going over his library of over 2,000 books on this podcast, one at a time. Today, I also have the pleasure of my friend Victor visiting with us. Victor is an affluent student of the occult, studying both high and low magic and all kinds of magic in between. Today, we're going to be talking about Donald Michael Craig's book, Modern Magic. We have the second edition here. It's 11 lessons in the high magical arts. There's been over 100,000 copies of it in print. The second edition, put out in 2001 by Llewellyn Publications. The first edition only had 12 printings and was put out in 1997. So, hey fellas, thank you so much for doing this with me tonight.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. And again, thank you for having us.
So this is a book that we have practiced from together, the three of us.
Yeah, it gives you a really good foundation. Things like the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram and the banishing ritual of the hexagram, and using those aspects of ritual to work within the basically Western Golden Dawn traditions.
Golden Dawn. Yeah, we are going to go over a lot of Golden Dawn going through this library too. Huh, Stephen?
That is correct. This is also known as the Idiot's Guide to Golden Dawn Magic. It's a very good introduction, a very good survey, has lots of fans in the magical occult community. Chick Cicero and Tabitha Cicero, the founders of the Golden Dawn in America, highly recommend this book. It says Modern Magic is a modern-day classic and has become the standard textbook of practical magical knowledge for magicians all over the world. Highly recommend it to the beginner and the adept alike. It'll help you refresh your memory on a lot of this stuff. I'll go out on the limb and say that everything modern magical derives from the Golden Dawn stuff. If you look at, say, Starhawk's The Spiral Dance, you'll clearly see that the Tree of Life ritual is her grounding and centering.
Yeah, the Tree of Life meditation.
Yes,
I have a video on that.
Meditation. So the Golden Dawn has influenced a vast amount of magical practitioners. And this book is a very, very good introduction. It has practically everything that the modern magician needs to know and study, as Enochian and even Goetia.
Right.
So those are
important things when studying high magic.
Magic.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
The Ciceros, didn't they have a program, a self-initiation into the Golden Dawn?
Yes. As a matter of fact, it's called Experiencing the Kabbalah, Self-Initiation into the Golden Dawn Traditions and the Golden Dawn Magical System.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I have a few of their books too. They're very, very good.
Yeah, I used to have that one of those. Now, here's the thing about this book, guys. Stephen and Victor have some opposing views.
Right? I don't think our disagreements are particularly bad or anything like that. It's just a very good, healthy discussion of magical practice.
Yes.
It's just what we do.
Yes.
Victor and I, together with a friend of ours named Chris Plaisance, and you, of course, practiced this stuff until we knew it by heart.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the remarkably good things about Craig's book. It's an inspiration. It really inspires you to get in and really practice magic. Introduce you to the ritual and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But this is like a motivational book, I found.
Well, it does challenge you to get to know yourself. Victor was saying about in the back, it gets you, what were you saying about forcing you to face your demons or something like that?
Yeah, it has the IOB technique.
IOB technique, yes, very good.
Which
and
one
it's in the introductory lessons, basically. Once you master the LBRP,
The lesser banishing ritual
of the
pentagram.
That's how good we know this stuff. We just refer to it by its initials.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, the IOB technique is something that everyone...
And for those who don't know, what does IOB stand for?
Invoking, objectifying, and banishing. Well, let's say you are suffering from a broken heart. all of that energy that's going through you, all those thoughts and that sort of thing, coalesce. Okay? So you cast your circle, there's a triangle outside of the circle, and you charge all of that into the triangle manifestation.
Yep, triangle
and then
manifestation.
you banish it.
That's one of the fundamentals of this book. It teaches you how to banish.
Yes.
Because it's so
Good
strongly
point.
connected to the lesser banishing ritual, the pentagram.
Correct.
And he also goes through and how teaches you how to draw the pentagrams,
Yes.
how to invoke them, and how to banish them, both, and the hexagrams.
Yeah.
Because it gives you the foundation of the pentagram rituals and the hexagram rituals that you'll find, traditionally in the Golden Dawn traditions and their rituals and whatnot. It's kind of it's a lesser Golden Dawn to me. It's an introduction to the Golden Dawn.
Right.
But it's also a loose introduction in Western magic and Hermeticism and ceremonial magic and foundations that you'll find, in those
Right,
things.
yeah. Donald Michael Craig, once you get through this book and you actually put yourself into performing at least most of the rituals, when you start studying other high magic and other magics, you'll more easily adapt to them.
Yeah, and he goes into detail on how to circulate your body light and how to create your astral self and how to connect with your HGA, your Holy Guardian Angel. I mean, all the fundamentals are covered in this book. And that's why it's such a great book, and I'm sure lots of people have cut their teeth on this book, when they got into all this.
I can't remember exactly, but this book will lead you to a degree in the Golden Dawn system of initiation. I think it's Adeptus Minor.
Oh, I
I'm
didn't know
not
that.
Sure.
Mm.
After you master a certain series of rituals, the LBRP, the Greater Banishing Ritual, that sort of thing.
And he also takes you to the fundamentals of how the Kabbalistic tree, the mystical Kabbalistic tree works.
Yes, the Kabbalah in here is really, really good.
And you can clearly see his influence from books like 777 and other Kabbalistic writings. So,
Exactly.
I mean,
Yes.
it's all
They
here,
did a
but in a
brilliant
very
job of synthesizing the
yeah.
whole thing, so that everybody can, just the layman, the working magician, those who are more advanced in magic,
I
like
think
the
in this book,
Enochian and that sort of thing.
this book also covers the basic tools, the fundamental elemental tools,
Yes.
which are different than our contemporary Wicca pagan.
Right. And I
traditions.
really, looking back, I really wished I had this information early on in my magical career. I did have access to it. I had the original Israel Regardi hardback volumes, but I just was really working on the fringes of magic, like folk magic and.
Yeah, he also mixes.
That's
He also puts some Enochian in here too.
Yes.
The basics of Enochian.
Yes, which is very, very good. It's like a beginner's guide to the Enochian, which is very, very important.
Mm.
But had I had this information early on, and had I practiced it and been inspired with it, I could have saved myself a lot of trouble, particularly magical trouble.
Mm-hmm.
This book is hands-on because it gives you it helps you learn how to create your ritual tools, your dagger, your wand, your pantacle, and your chalice.
And by the way, I'd like to take a side note here and tell you that my friend Victor is excellent at creating magical tools. He made my fire wand. He made my dame, the air dagger, and just did a brilliant job on that. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're quite well. Also, besides the learning how to create your magical tools that give you that connection to each element, he goes through how to connect the elements to the rituals and to the tree of life.
Yes, there's a lot of information on how to really work with the elements, each of the four, including spirit, 5. He does a very, very good job.
I think
helping
I
connect with
actually think the bornless one is in here as well, correct?
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I think he touches base on it, I thought. Let's see. He shows you how to set up a basic ritual procedure. He gives an example of Mathers doing a ritual.
S.L. McGregor Mathers,
Yeah,
one of the
ritual.
founding members.
So yeah, you get in this book, you get your pentagram rituals, you get the hexagram ritual. So you get 2 fundamental foundations for the Golden Dawn tradition. You get the pentagram and the hexagram. The pentagram, of course, is your earthly elements, and the hexagram is your higher elements. And you get some basic sigil magic, how to perform sigil magic from a Golden Dawn perspective. because it uses the rose cross. It has circulation of the body light, astral projection, the IOB technique. I think somewhere in this book he does touch base with the Bornless one. Yeah, he does. He has the Bornless one in here.
Really?
And so he sets you
What
up.
page are you on?
415. So he sets you up to perform goetic magic. So you can, after you make contact with your HGA and your holy guardian angels, then you're in a position to perform the goetic magic, which is
I absolutely love the Bornless one ritual. It's just beautiful. You pretty much know it by heart.
Yeah, the Bornless one actually dates back to the Library of Alexandria, supposedly.
Mm-hmm.
It's that old.
It's been through some modern iterations, but it's quite...
He actually he shows you on 330 how to cut and design talismans.
Yes.
And they have different shapes for different purposes. He gives you 3 basic shapes.
Now, are those the Solomonic seals or...
No, he gives you sigil magic for the rose cross.
Yeah.
And then I think he touches base on.
I've got an entire separate book on
the
that
Solomonic talismans.
by
And he has
Israel
a drawing down of the moon where you create a triangle in your hands and you pull the full moon energy down into you.
I do that practically every full moon.
And of course you can use that. You can use that ritual with circulation of the body light.
Yes.
And lesser banishing ritual, the hexagram.
Uh-huh.
And also with the Bornless one too, if you're bringing down your higher self, that sort of thing.
Yeah, you're invoking your higher self, your HGA, or Holy Guardian Angel, as Crowley would have it.
Yeah, this is a classic. I mean, this book is classic for introducing.
It's absolutely invaluable.
Into ceremonial magic.
It's absolutely invaluable, and the bibliography will lead you in all different sorts and kinds of ways. I highly recommend it, if nothing else, for a list of books that you can read and further and deepen your knowledge of
this is one of those
magic.
books you discover in the bookstore, and you're like, and if you get it, you just draws you in. It just like you have like this. It gives you ambition to pursue these things.
Yes, it is a kind of a guide to. It really makes you want to work in this tradition. It's something that you don't just read and imagine. It's something that it's hands-on.
And it's easy
Modern
to
magic,
follow.
Yes, modern magic, it's hands-on. Once you get through this book, you are actually eligible for a grade. I think it's Adeptus Minor. I'm not absolutely certain about that, but if you successfully complete and memorize the rituals in this book, you can be considered an Adeptus Minor.
He really, in the beginning, he really iterates you working on the astral plane and doing the rituals on the astral plane.
Yes, that's a very good technique too. I've often done that. Let's say I had a kind of psychic attack. Some people call them sleep paralysis or something like that. I think though that there's something very, very, very real about that and that sort of thing. And if you learn the say the lesser banishing ritual, the pentagram, you can do that in a semi-comatose state and banish whatever is bothering you. But that takes work, and it takes doing it every day. Do the ritual every day. There's a series of rituals, starting with the lesser banishing ritual, the pentagram, going well into the Rose Cross ritual, which is beautiful, beautiful ritual to perform. It has some Christian connotations, but that's okay. It's fine.
But that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. It's a beautiful ritual.
It's not. This tradition isn't biased. I mean,
No.
the Golden Dawn is rooted in pagan, Christian, Hermetic, Jewish, Kemetic, Egyptian. I mean, all of it.
All of it indeed. Does not discriminate. So yeah, Donald Michael Craig, Modern Magic. 11 Lessons in the High Magical Arts. This is a very, very in-depth collection.
Now, did he write any other book?
Yeah, he wrote a book on sex magic.
Oh, yes, I had that one too for a little while.
Yeah.
And there's
good.
also a tape that you can get that goes along with it. Well, it was the tape back then when I
It was
got
the
it.
tape back in the
I don't think you can get the tape anymore.
No.
But I got the tape anyway. That's where I learned, and I say this often. Remember, kids, Crowley rhymes with holy.
That's right. Holy Mr. Crowley.
Holy Mr. Crowley.
That's right.
So, Aleister Crowley, the golden... What are some other names? Throw out some names real quick. There you've got Aleister Crowley, Israel Regarde. Who else? Mathers.
Chick Cicero. and his wife.
Mm-hmm.
Lon Milo Duquet is mostly a fan of Aleister Crowley.
I really like
But
Lon Milo
oh,
Duquet.
I know, he's so good. He's so funny.
Gosh, what was
His
his
books
book?
are so easy to read.
I've
too.
only had one book but I really,
one was
really
that?
loved. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember the name of it, but I really liked it.
He was all in on Aleister Crowley stuff.
I remember in his book, I can't remember the name of the book, but I remember in there he talked about creating these magical sigils on these pieces of paper, and they were all like, his wife went out of town and like he moved the living room furniture and he made these sigils in the proper way, and then they were just perfect and beautiful, and then he looked at them and then he decided to burn them right then and there.
Yeah.
He said because if he held on to them, then they would, degrade and
Right.
get worn. He said, no, he's going to burn them right now in their beautiful glory and let them and release them.
So Donald Craig, he has some other publications. The Truth About Evocation of Spirits. Do you have that in your library?
I think I do. And it's basically taken from 11 Lessons in High Magic.
Yeah, it's just like a different version of it.
Not too different. It's mostly synthesized from his original 11 Lessons.
He also has a Truth About Psychic Powers.
Yeah, I don't think I've got that one. I haven't come across it. We've been actually unpacking our library. We've been doing 10 book reviews at a time. We're just 10 books off the shelf. Tanya and I discuss them and their history and their merit and the general scheme of things. So, but no, I haven't actually come across that. I may very well have it. I have no idea what I have.
Well, back to modern magic, though. You can't emphasize enough how important within this context and this magical tradition, pentagram rituals and the hexagram ritual. And he gives you the basis for those rituals through the LBRP, the greater hexagram ritual.
Right.
So,
these are all exercises in psychic magic.
He puts a lot of emphasis on the astral aspect of it, but he also gives you the physical aspect of it.
Yes. You should master the physical aspect first, then move on to the, or simultaneously practice the
he encourages it simultaneously
plane.
because he encourages you how to visualize things in this book. This book is all about visualization.
Yes, it's
and using the powers of your mental, state of like envisioning things,
right,
and making them a reality.
Yeah,
and he gives you that technique in the IOB technique.
Yes, I see. There's a lot of spiritual lessons, a lot of practical lessons in Hermetic magic.
Yeah.
And people have little or no idea how deep this goes.
Well, if you read someone like Eliphas Levi, then
yeah, well, that goes way back to the 1800s.
But I'm saying it's got that transcendental basis.
Yes, high magic is generally transcendental magic, essentially.
But at the same time,
you're not gonna find actual love spells
in
here.
No, actually you do. At the same time, he teaches you in this book how to create talismans. Yeah. And those talismans cover all that low magic stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
It's basically you're creating a form of low magic connected to the high magic.
Right.
I mean, if you notice in this book, book, he gives you the foundations for the pentagram, the foundations for the hexagram, because he's leading you towards the latter part of the book on how to evoke the goetic demons.
Yes.
So it kind of ends in that. It goes towards that direction. But you have to have that. You have to be able to invoke your higher self, the Bornless One, your HGA, your Holy Guardian Angel. And you have to have power through the angelic spirits to be able to control the daemon and the goetia.
Yes. Right. So you have to be and that's essentially what it's teaching you, is to learn how to be in an exalted state of consciousness, to where you are one with the divine. And if you're one with the divine, you can readily control the spirits of the air.
Also, this book, speaking of that sort of thing, it teaches you how to protect yourself.
Yes.
It teaches you how to create a barrier around your astral self and your physical self against those forces, those spiritual forces that are going to come to you and try to attack you and go against your will as the magician.
Yes.
Watch the movie Low. You'll understand.
Is that the one about Enochian magic where the angel manifests?
Well, he evoked a demon because he thought the demon had stolen his girlfriend. turns out the demon was his girlfriend.
Oh, wow.
It was
Pretty
very
heavy.
upsetting.
Well,
it was
most
very
women are
upsetting.
succubus. So.
Okay, now. All right.
Just
All right.
kidding.
Sure.
Well, I watched it and I was very upset by it.
Anyways,
it was scary.
back to this book. So,
I like some of the reviews, and each chapter ends in a review where he asks you questions. Okay, like I'm on page 79 right now, and it's, the questionnaire goes something like, name the four parts of the LBRP. What is AGLA an abbreviation for? So it's kind of a self-test too. And I took, when we were doing this, I took full advantage of that.
Yes.
And I would definitely, I would write it down in my journal.
yeah, Agla, AGLA, that's the northern part of the circle, right? We're
Right.
doing the ritual.
Blah. Now, I'll tell you what, folks, this is great stuff to perform with others.
Yeah.
It's called ceremonial magic. When you
Mhm.
put your voices together and you vibrate the god names
Mhm.
at each of the
And that's
Words
also
of the
something he
circles.
covers in this book is vibration of names.
magical names. Right.
So whenever you're
Because
doing the
everything is-
rituals, you're not just saying the names, but you're vibrating them.
You are vibrating
Right.
the names. You are doing that. You're creating a distinct mark in the astral plane
Mm-hmm.
when you do that.
And we
it's very, very
practiced
important.
this. We were doing this every week.
Every week.
Every week we
At least
learned
once a week.
a new thing. In the with the LBRP, the BRH, all those different things.
And
We learned a new one each week.
The vibrating of the name, I mean, this is just like intoning anything or singing something.
Right.
It's to elevate your consciousness to a higher state.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And there were times where I really, really feel that. And it was really awesome working with a group of people.
And
on
this also, it really connects you to the traditions of words of power,
Mm-hmm.
words that have, a meaning and that have a purpose. And when you vibrate these words, they're connected to something unseen, an angelic force, a God force, a spiritual force, and you're vibrating that name into existence.
And you can have
Yes.
some of the most astonishing spiritual moments if you practice this on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
I remember keeping he also talks about keeping a journal and how important it is to keep a journal. To keep, you write down everything that you
Mhm.
did, the day, the hour, position of the moon, the
Mhm.
stars, that sort of thing. And that's a very, very important part of your spiritual growth and see where you're going.
Mm-hmm. I do want to make note about, you were talking about vibrating and intoning and things like that. When you're reading these words, you're not just saying words. You're talking
Right.
about bringing things into existence.
Exactly.
You're not just saying words.
You're not.
You're actually speaking to a being. You're speaking to create something, manifest something.
Because everything on this planet, or this plane of existence, is a vibration. And so when you vibrate in harmony with the universe, very good spiritual things are just bound to happen.
He gives you, in this book, he gives you a foundation for reading and writing the Hebrew alphabet.
Yes, I think.
Now,
it's
with
very,
the
very
Hebrew
important.
alphabet, if you go into the mystical, practices of these sort of things, each letter will have its tone,
Mm-hmm.
and each word will have its the way you would, like I-A-O or I-N-R-I or Yod-He Vav-He. Okay, so you want to when you vibrate, you want to vibrate low or high or up and down, and this creates different effects with the words that you're vibrating.
Yes.
And the tone of the vibration creates like an experience within the ritual to
Right.
connect those forces,
Right.
those spiritual forces.
You remember the word Aretz?
All are rets.
The world.
And well, I don't know if it's related, but in the hexagram ritual, the main word you vibrate is Ararita. This book
That's
also
inside
gives you a
benefits.
really good foundation of the Kabbalistic tree of life and the
Yep.
Western ceremonial aspect of it. And he goes through the 10 sephiros, the 22 paths on the tree, and then using the tree against the middle pillar ritual, the hexagram ritual, and the pentagram rituals. He also gives you the middle pillar ritual in this book, which is in the
beautiful.
ceremonial Western tradition is a really important thing because it's like you're You're invoking three aspects of your being. You have the pillar of mercy, the pillar of severity, and the middle pillar. And the middle pillar is like your spiritual self that's balanced on the left pillar, the pillar of severity, and the right pillar, the pillar of mercy. These three pillars are found within the Kabbalistic tree of life, and they connect the 10 Sephiros together in a direct line from above to below.
Yeah, and you'll find that what these rituals do is they balance your spiritual self.
Yes.
You bring it into balance.
Well, that's what the middle pillar is for.
Exactly.
Right.
Because
That's exactly right.
when you start invoking and evoking, because he goes over
Right.
both aspects in this book, you have to be balanced.
Yes.
Because
Remind our friends the difference between invoking and evoking.
well, invoking is to pull it from within and to within, and evoking is to control something outside of yourself, to communicate or talk to something that's not part of you. So God is part of you, and your higher self, your holy guardian angel is part of you, but these angels and these daemons are not part of you. So you have to invoke those higher powers, and that's just what one of the essence of this Golden Dawn tradition is, to invoke these angelic forces and these God forces, so you can control the lesser forces, which you'll find in books like the Goetia.
Brilliant. I love that description. That's
Yes,
absolutely
perfect.
one of the most perfect descriptions of the great work I've heard in a long time. Thank you, Victor.
Yeah, the great work.
Yes.
That's what it
That's
is.
what
and
the
it's-
whole thing is
and
about.
it's
This
all
book
work.
is about.
It's
Yes,
never
this
ending.
book- no, it's a continuous spiritual work.
Yeah.
I think I have maybe 4 or 5 volumes of my diaries, my magical diaries, in a box somewhere.
One of the things he says in this book I like is like, inflame thyself with prayer.
Yes, that's the way you
And
do
the
it.
prayer in this context, it's the invocations,
Hmm.
it's the rituals, because it's a devotion.
Yes, it's a devotion.
So this is the prayer aspect of it, to inflame
Yes.
thyself with prayer.
I've gotten myself through a lot of emotional trauma using the rituals in this book, particularly IOB technique,
Yeah.
where if, let's say you're suffering from a broken heart, some kind of grave emotional upset, you can invoke that, all the anger, the feelings of anger, because you're just tired of carrying that burden, and you can invoke that outside the circle and just cut it out from your life, just banish it. Banish
Also
it
in this book, he
completely.
teaches you how to work with the 4 archangels
Yes.
and the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, and those gives you the foundations of the 4 elements, and then you, the magician, being the 5th element, spirit, and that's
Right.
where you're spiritually balancing yourself with the middle pillar, you're protecting yourself with the pentagrams, and then you're invoking higher powers through the hexagrams, and then you use those forces to control the spirits of, his example is the Goetia. You as the magician have power over those things through
Yes.
those rituals and those prayers.
It's an interesting set of circumstances. We don't quite know what these entities are. Lately, modern magicians call them spiritual creatures. They're the 72 lords of the Jinn in King Solomon's Goetia.
Yeah, he gives you an introduction into it
Mhm.
using 2 candles, I think a bowl with ink in it, and then you put the
Scrying.
talisman. Yeah, scrying techniques. You put the
Yes.
talisman around your neck, and then you use the bornless one to invoke the spirit,
Mhm.
and then to present to you as the magician a visual,
Mhm.
and he communicates with you that way.
One of the interesting things I found about Goetic magic is that it's fail-proof. It will not fail, but you have to be very, very, very good about your declaration.
Right. You
of
cannot
intention.
be
You're-
fickle in your
You
practices.
cannot do that because you'll be all over the map.
And obviously,
It's like a lawyer thing,
it's taken
Right.
so
You like
seriously
that.
that you've got to learn these pentagram and hexagram
Yes.
rituals
You do.
to go into it.
Right.
It's important to know these
Yes.
things. But this book, in its essence, is giving you the foundation. Pentagram and the hexagram.
Yes.
Yes.
They're the most 2 important types of rituals you're going
Yes.
to find in the Golden Dawn tradition.
Absolutely.
They are the foundation of it.
The outer forms were memorized.
Yeah, and once you got all that down pat, you're eligible to move on to things like Enochian magic, Goetia, a
Yeah.
conjuration of the 72.
The point of it, though, is that the bones of ritual you memorize.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Because that instills confidence in your work.
Yes.
Once you know that by heart and you can work it through without error,
Mm-hmm.
that sort of thing, then you are really practicing the yoga of magic. And magic is a kind of yoga. It's a devotional.
It
What do they call
really is.
What is that? Hatha yoga? Yeah.
Yoga stuff. I want to tell everyone that if you enjoyed this, please give us a thumbs up, listen and share with your friends. Thank you, Victor, and thank you, Stephen, for being with me tonight.
You're most welcome.
This
Thank you
was
so
so
much.
much fun.
That's very